Welcome back, fellow productivity disaster. If you're joining us for part 2, I'm assuming one of 3 things. You watched part 1 and thought, this explains so much about my daily existential crises. You've skipped part 1 because planning to watch it seemed too overwhelming, ironically proving my entire point. You're just here because the algorithm thinks you need help. Let's be honest, it's probably right. In part 1, we uncovered the neurological crime scene that is overplanning, how our ancient brains short-circuit when faced with color-coded Google calendars and 27-item to-do lists. We met the planning fallacy monster, the Zeigarnik effect zombies, and that sketchy dopamine dealer who keeps us addicted to planning without actually doing. Now comes the fun part, fixing this mess. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share a framework that's less about perfect execution and more about, well, actually getting important stuff done without hating yourself in the process. Revolutionary concept, I know. So grab whatever's left of your shattered productivity system and let's rebuild it into something that works with your beautifully flawed human brain instead of against it. Your sanity depends on it. No pressure. Now let's get practical. How do you actually implement flexible productivity in your life? Here's a framework that won't make you want to throw your planner out the window. Instead of a massive to-do list, identify your top 3 priorities for the day. These are your big rocks, the things that, if accomplished, would make the day a win, regardless of what else happens. The psychology behind this is fascinating. Research from the productivity firm I Done This found that 41% of to-do list items are never completed. But when people focused on just 2 to 3 priorities, completion rates jumped to over 70%. Your brain can only handle so much. By limiting your priorities, you're working with your cognitive limitations instead as against them. Time blocking is actually a useful technique when done right. The problem is, most people do it wrong. Instead of scheduling back-to-back tasks, create larger blocks with built-in buffer time. For example, morning block, 9 to 12, focus on priority number 1. Midday block, 1 to 3, meetings and communication. Afternoon block, 3 to 6, focus on priority number 2. Within each block, you have the flexibility to adapt to interruptions without your entire day falling apart. This approach is supported by research from Microsoft, which found that workers need an average of 23 minutes to refocus after an interruption. By building in buffer time, you're accounting for the reality of how your brain actually works. David Allen's 2-minute rule from Getting Things Done is perfect for flexible productivity. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately rather than planning it for later. For everything else, use task triage. Must do today. Connected to your priority trifecta. Should do soon. Important but not urgent. Can wait. Everything else. This prevents the common planning mistake of treating all tasks as equally important. At the end of each day, take 5 minutes for a daily reset. What went well today? What didn't go as planned? What are tomorrow's top 3 priorities? This simple practice creates closure for the day and sets you up for tomorrow without elaborate planning. Let's talk about something that productivity gurus rarely mention: the emotional toll of constant planning and inevitable failure. When your perfectly planned day falls apart, as it always will, it doesn't just affect your schedule, it affects how you feel about yourself. Each uncompleted task becomes evidence that you're not good enough, not disciplined enough, not worthy enough. This is completely bananas, but it's how most of us think. Dr. Kristen Neff's research on self-compassion shows that being kind to yourself when you fall short of your goals actually makes you more likely to improve in the future, not less. When you beat yourself up for not completing your impossible to-do list, you activate your brain's threat response, which reduces cognitive function and creativity, the exact things you need to be productive. Self-compassion, on the other hand, activates your brain's caregiving system, which increases motivation and willingness to try again. So being kind to yourself isn't just nice, it's neurologically sound productivity advice. Former Coca-Cola CEO Brian Dyson once gave a commencement speech where he compared life's responsibilities to juggling. Some balls are made of glass, and some are made of rubber. If you drop a rubber ball, it bounces back. If you drop a glass ball, it shatters. Your work email is probably a rubber ball. Your health, key relationships, and core values are glass balls. Flexible productivity isn't about doing everything. It's about making sure you don't drop the glass balls. My friend Jake, not his real name, runs a marketing agency. He used to plan his days in 15-minute increments, complete with color coding and priority flags. The result? Constant stress, frequent disappointment, and a growing sense that he was somehow broken because he couldn't stick to his own schedule. When he switched to flexible productivity, everything changed. He focused on 2 to 3 client priorities each day, built in buffer time for inevitable fires that needed putting out, and stopped treating his calendar like a prison sentence. His business actually grew because he was responding to opportunities instead of rigidly sticking to plans that were outdated the moment he made them. Ready to break free from the overplanning trap? Here's how to start. Do a planning detox. For 1 week, don't use any formal planning system. Just write down your top 3 priorities each morning. Notice how it feels to have less structure. Identify your actual working style. Are you a morning person or night owl? Do you work better in short bursts or long stretches? Build your flexible system around your natural tendencies, not some guru's ideal day. Create your buffer zones. Look at your typical week and identify common interruptions. Build buffer time around these known chaos points. Practice the art of the pivot. When interruptions happen, and they will, practice consciously pivoting rather than abandoning your plan entirely. My morning plan didn't work out, so I'll adjust my afternoon to accommodate my priority. Track what actually happens. For a few weeks, track what you actually accomplish versus what you planned. This reality check helps calibrate your future planning to be more realistic. Is the thing nobody wants to admit. The most productive people aren't those with perfect plans. They're the ones who can adapt when those plans inevitably fall apart. Productivity isn't about perfection, it's about progress. And progress happens in the messy, beautiful space between planning and reality. Your worth isn't measured by checked boxes on a to-do list. It's measured by meaningful progress toward what matters. So tomorrow morning, when you sit down with that cup of coffee, try something different. Set your priorities, create flexible boundaries, and give yourself permission to adapt. Your productivity and your sanity will thank you. Life is messy, unpredictable, and beautifully chaotic. Instead of fighting against this fundamental truth with rigid plans and impossible expectations, what if we learned to work with it? What if productivity wasn't about controlling every minute of your day, but about focusing on what matters most and adapting to everything else? That's the promise of flexible productivity. Not perfection, because perfection is a myth, but progress. Real, meaningful progress on the things that actually matter. So go ahead and close that color-coded planner. Put down that productivity app and try a different way, because your brain will thank you, your stress levels will thank you, and the people who have to deal with you when your perfect plan inevitably falls apart will definitely thank you. So there you have it, the revolutionary concept that maybe, just maybe, we shouldn't plan our lives like we're programming robots with perfect execution algorithms. Shocking, I know. Look, if you've made it this far in this ridiculously long 2-part video, you're either genuinely interested in fixing your productivity disaster zone, or you've fallen asleep with autoplay on. Either way, I'm counting it as a win. The truth is, I still catch myself making those insane color-coded schedules sometimes. Old habits die hard, especially the ones that give us those sweet, sweet dopamine hits. Just last week, I created a planning spreadsheet so beautiful it should have been in a museum. Right before reality came crashing through the wall like the Kool-Aid man. But here's the thing. Every time I pivot back to flexible productivity, my actual output increases, while my self-loathing decreases. That's what mathematicians call a double win. Or they would if mathematicians talked about productivity instead of, math stuff. If this video helped you feel less alone in your planning dysfunction, maybe subscribe for more content where I over-explain simple concepts with unnecessary metaphors and questionable stick figure drawings. Or don't. That's the beauty of flexible productivity. You can always watch it later when you're procrastinating on something more important. And remember, your ancient hunter-gatherer brain is doing its absolute best to navigate our bizarre modern world. Maybe cut it some slack. It never asked to manage Slack channels and quarterly performance reviews. It just wanted to find some berries and avoid being eaten. So go forth and be flexibly productive, you magnificent disaster. Your sanity depends on it. This is the part where I'm contractually obligated to remind you about liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell, which, ironically, will send you notifications that will completely derail whatever you're doing when they arise. The circle of productivity life continues.